Hey, Isabella, did you see the update to the hat GPT saga?
No, I did not.
They've gotten rid of a third hat.
Can I guess which one?
Yes.
Is it the Ash?
Yeah.
Ashos?
It's the Ashos.
Is it? Okay,
You got
great.
it.
At first, I was gonna guess Bobon.
Yeah. Oh, because that, I guess, in Spanish means something as well.
I don't know.
Also, they're selling, one of them hit the resale market, a Tetas hat.
Ooh.
You want to guess how much that's going for currently?
How much do they usually go for?
I think they're like probably $30. How much is a hat now?
$44.99.
$44? This is a scam. Guess how much it's going for now, Isabella?
100?
A little more than that.
130.
A little more than that.
200?
It's $999.
Ow, I just cracked my jaw, like gasping.
Hello and welcome to Casuals, the sports podcast that's really excited about March Madness today, so we're doing a special episode. I'm Katie Nolan, I'm your host. I'm joined today by my dear friend, Charlotte Wilder. Charlotte, thanks for being here. Co-host of the podcast, The Sports Gossip Show, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we are going to be doing not a preview of March Madness, but almost like a preview of the excitement of March Madness. We figured as a team at Casuals that the casuals listening to this, look, every year I've filled out my bracket, the years I've known what's going on, my bracket has been the worst it could be. So I don't think knowing stuff really helps a casual going into March Madness. I think the best thing for a casual is like all of the surrounding culture of March Madness. So today we are going to do a bracket and we're just doing 16 teams because we don't have that much
We're not
time.
sickos.
Right. So, and this still I think will take up most of the podcast, but we are going to do a bracket of our favorite things about March Madness. Before we jump into that, if you want to reach us, our email is casualswithkatienolan@gmail.com. Our voicemail is 646-801-0043. And on IG and TikTok, you can find us at Casuals the Podcast. That's where you can go to yell at us about our episodes being audio only. That's where you can go to harass us and say that we need to put full video on YouTube. That's where you can go do that.
Perfect. We match.
Okay, yeah, we should address for the audio listener. Charlotte and I are wearing basically the same jeans. She's wearing basically the same outfit, but cooler than mine, which is a nightmare scenario.
You have a vintage Patriot sweatshirt on.
This is from Abercrombie and Fitch. I got it this year.
Oh,
so
Katie.
I know. You really fell for it, though. You're the one who got, not me.
It looks real.
You're the one who should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all right.
It's comfy, though.
I'm wearing a shirt that's from a vintage place, and it says Turtle Creek Yacht Club on it. And I just want to say, this is how paranoid I am. This is how paranoid the internet has made me. I Googled it to make sure it wasn't like a racist yacht club somewhere.
It's a yacht club.
And it doesn't exist anymore.
Great.
So,
well, then it's good. We got rid of some of the evil in the world.
just checking off. I don't want to be a part of the problem.
You give off old money fashion-wise. A yacht club T-shirt is not something I've ever even considered owning. You came in cheap before this, and it's still at her feet, and it may come back. She had a sweater draped over her shoulders.
It's a sweatshirt
of her yacht club T-shirt.
Sorry, that's what Gen Z told me is cool. Now,
yeah, they also said center part. Are we doing that still? You kind of are. My hair part's different depending on the
I think
day.
I got bullied into a center part, and then realized I actually sort of liked it more.
You have to live in your truth.
Well. Truth. What is truth?
That's a good question.
Subjective.
That's a good question. By the way, that was your yap. It's not happening today. We got a lot to get to.
Sorry,
we need to talk.
I'm derailing us.
You're not. I'm saying there is no yap, and we're going to call whatever we just did there
the yap.
That's the beauty of the yap. It can cover any talking that nobody wants to listen to, and it was probably.
Oh, I think this is a good stuff. Are you kidding me? I live for this.
Okay, so what we did yesterday, the production team and I, Brady, Chris, Isabella. We came up with our favorite thing, 16 of our favorite things, technically 18 of our favorite things about March Madness. I had them seed it because if you've ever done a bracket for content, the thing people want to yell at you about the most is the seeding. They'll always be like, that matchup doesn't make any sense. That's not a 1 seed, that's a 16 seed. So what I did is I removed myself from that process.
Oh, nice.
So if you guys have notes on the seeding, take it up with Chris or with Brady. Leave Isabella alone.
You could yell at me too, because I really had nothing.
Yeah,
agree with it.
it's not my problem, but you can yell at us for our picks, which we will go through. So there are 2 play-in games. Two
fun.
matchups. No, see, they're not represented on your bracket, but they are the ones that have slashes. So it's for the 16 seed and for the 10 seed.
Ah, yes.
Now, we're going to start with the, for the 10 seed, the play-in matchup of noon beers versus evening beers. So, great things about March Madness is you can have beers any time of day.
Right.
A lot of action going on throughout the day.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is pretty clear noon because
Yeah.
you can kind of have an evening beer whenever. March Madness provides that extra excuse if you want to crack open a cold one in the middle of the day.
Nice. If you want to pop a nooner. Does that mean something else? I thought it sounded cool, and then I was like, or bad.
Look, you tried it.
I don't know. Leave it if it's inoffensive. Take it out if it means something that we all know I didn't mean to say.
Yeah.
Papa Nooner was what it was.
Papa
again,
Nooner, folks.
So we're all on the. Yeah, I
No
think
Google hits for Papa Nooner.
Yes!
You are clear.
Make
Sick.
the merch, print the shirts. I think I'm with you on noon beers. I also think in this work from home era, you could probably sneak a noon beer. Like back in the day when we were, we work in sports. So March Madness during the day, we're watching it usually
Yes.
at our respective jobs that I don't think we now
That
have.
don't exist anymore, frankly.
Before, I used to feel bad for people who had to work real jobs and who couldn't, like, on a Friday or a Thursday, like, hang out and watch a game.
Same.
Now it doesn't matter. I think most people are they making them go back to work. I'm not keeping up with the.
I don't have a real job and
same.
kind of technically never had, so I don't
Right,
know.
right.
I'm with you. I used to feel really bad. I'd be, work was just sitting around watching March Madness.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do people do
Yeah.
who don't?
Unrelatable.
And I'm like,
And we're
important
sorry.
stuff? Oh, they're
Yeah.
doing important stuff.
Oh, math and equations?
That's
Oh,
what it is.
taxes? All right, so Noon Beers is going to win that play-in game pretty handily to fill our 10 seed in our bracket. The other play-in game, because these are kind of similar, are team nicknames versus team mascots. So team mascots came up because we wanted to discuss live mascots who are present at the game, mainly because we wanted to show you Griff 2 from where again?
Drake.
From Drake.
Drake.
Having famously a tough year. I don't know basketball wise, but
Kendrick's going to just show up to their games. Sit
he
there.
should. I feel like he should.
It's a good bit.
But if he doesn't, they will have Griff the Second, their live dog mascot who rules. Isn't he cute?
oh, he's amazing.
Isn't
Look
he
at his little
cute?
tie.
Isn't he everything
Oh,
to
it's
you?
amazing when dogs willingly wear costumes. Sorry, outfits. So
I don't
it's not a
think
costume.
that is.
Drake is also one of those schools that I really only know exists because of March Madness. No
Same.
offense to Drake, but
That's
those
okay.
are I love that part of it too. Where
We'll
you're
get
like,
there.
oh yeah,
Stop saying
Sorry.
other things we're going to obviously talk about.
you tell me. Yeah, okay.
I think there's probably more to talk about in terms of team nicknames, like when you learn that the Delaware are the fighting Blue Hens or the famous St. Louis Billikens. So I think not to commandeer the play-in games.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably move the team nicknames into the bracket. Are you
wow,
okay with that?
over mascots.
Well, just because in terms of live mascot, because I could have sworn
this
that
is
other
live mascot only.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And because I could have sworn other schools brought cute dogs, but we had a hard time finding.
I think Butler Blue goes to a lot of the games, but it's much more football friendly, a live
Yeah.
mascot,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can
yeah.
bring, off the top of my head, a longhorned steer.
Right. You
You know?
shouldn't actually if we're doing what I think.
Yeah.
But if you're going with, if you're doing what we did this year, I'm pretty sure you can bring a live tiger. Didn't they bring a live? Yes.
They did.
So that's now again not something I'd advise, but it is technically doable. So unless you want to make the argument for mascots,
Nicknames is fun. 'Cause
I just feel like the
Blue
nicknames
Hens is.
there's a whole list.
Okay, great.
We're just going to get there. I wanted to save some of the content.
Amazing.
Hold back a little.
Perfect. I love it.
Cool. So nicknames makes it in. That's the 16th seed. So it's going to have a tough matchup anyway. And we'll just start with that matchup, the 1 versus the 16 in the first round, like the official first round of our 16 team things we love about March Madness. We have Cinderella runs versus funny team nicknames.
I mean, who doesn't love a Cinderella run? That's kind of the whole point, right? Like it's a 1 seed for a reason. I think we're going to have to go chalk here, Katie.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Can you explain to anybody who might not know what a Cinderella run is?
Yeah, a Cinderella run is when a team like UMBCC, University of Maryland, Baltimore College Central, which is not what it is, but you get my drift. When a team like that goes on, and I think it was 2018, they beat Virginia, and then they went on to, a very low numbered round rather, and you're like, I've never heard of that team. Or St. Peter's a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I've got
a list of a couple here. St. Peter's was in 2022. The St. Peter's Peacocks.
Yes,
which
very
kind
good.
of brings in the thing we're up against here, which team nicknames. It's like a double-digit seed that usually makes it for way further than you think they're going to.
Yes.
A big Cinderella run. In 2006, we had the George Mason Patriots. They made it to the Final Four. They were an 11th seed. 2008, we had the Davidson Wildcats make it to the Elite Eight. They were a 10 seed. VCU, remember that in 2011?
Yes.
They made it to the Final Four. Florida Gulf Coast Eagles went to the Sweet 16 in 2013. I remember that one. And Loyola Chicago was an 11 seed that defeated number 6 Miami and number 3 Tennessee.
Is
They
that
made
the
it to
one?
the
Is
Final
that
Four.
Sister Jean?
I think so.
There's a...
Was that Sister Jean? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a nun who loves that team. And
Yeah.
she
Is
shows
she?
up. Yeah, I think.
Can we make
Still
sure?
with us?
Because I check every year.
Same.
And
I think we'd know.
every year, I think so
Yep,
too.
she's 105.
Shut up!
Sister
105.
Jean.
Sister Jean.
God loves her.
I mean, in a year when we had a sister nominated for Best Supporting Actress,
Oh, yeah.
a big year for sisters.
Isabella Rossellini.
That's right.
She's
And-
a fake sister, though.
no, yeah, she's an actress.
Yeah.
She's a sister, right? But she's not a.
But she might be.
But Sister Jean, 105. If that ain't an advertisement for the church,
I mean, it's kind of the best one they've got going for them.
God'll keep you here.
Yeah.
At least till March Madness. God, that's going to be. We need to start emotionally preparing for that day.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything any of us can do to prepare ourselves for that moment.
Did you?
Maybe I'll start praying.
A couple years ago.
Sorry.
It's a little late, but you can do it whenever you want.
I'm Jewish.
Do you remember a couple of years ago people started to turn on Sister Jean? That was
yeah.
wild.
Well, right. It's like if a nun who roots for a basketball team isn't safe from the backlash to the backlash, then
Yeah.
it made me feel better, to be honest.
Jesus saves, but not from that.
Not on the
Can't save
internet.
you from that. Of course, obviously, NC State in 2024, they went to the Final Four. Oral Roberts. I just like any excuse I have to say Oral Roberts. What an insane name for a school. I don't even need to know what your mascot is.
Toothpaste.
So we're saying,
Sorry.
Oral R. So we're saying Cinderella runs makes it through. So sorry to nicknames, but let me read a couple. The Delaware Fighting Blue Hens and the St. Louis Billikens. The Campbell Fighting Camels. The UC Irvine Anteaters. The Presbyterian Blue Hose. Now that's HOSE. Not
What?
to be confused, I guess.
Even spelled that way, I'm like, a hose.
Either way, I'm
is,
like, this what?
As in garden?
I guess.
Okay.
Unless it means something. Could mean panty.
What?
North Texas Mean Green. I love when a school just says a color is a person.
Yeah,
I think
they're
that's
like-
great.
We're mean and we're green.
The St. Francis Red Flash. That's what I call a specific week
Once
of
a
my
month.
month. The IPFW Mastodons.
Okay,
This-
that sounds like an insurance company.
Yes, that's right. IPFW.
Mastodon.
Mastodon us.
What?
I don't know. Stony Brook Seawolves and the Canisius. Is that Canisius is how we say the name of that school that I've definitely heard of before? The Golden Griffins.
Oh, okay. Very Harry Potter of them.
Yes. R.I.P. to those people. Cinderella runs, moves on.
And I'm supposed to fill out my little bracket,
Yeah,
right?
that's why we got you a pen, Charlotte. What do
Yeah,
you think
it's
it was
nice.
for?
Well, sometimes I draw pictures. Okay.
All right, we're going down the left side. I don't know. This might be confusing. Maybe you all should have written your own bracket out. And if you are, here it is. The 8 versus the 9. We've got the monoculture of it all versus one shining moment. Our thinking with the monoculture of it all. We don't have a lot of things anymore that everybody's watching and talking about at the same time. So
Right.
there's like a communal experience to March Madness that I find quite invigorating.
Yes.
When you're like, oh, I can sort of just send the post without having to specify too much what I'm talking about because everybody's watching the same thing I'm watching. I love that.
Yes.
I live for that.
Same.
That's what I used to use a website called Twitter for. It was its strength, it was its value.
And now
It's dead.
Yeah.
And so the monoculture of it all up against One Shining Moment, which for those who don't know, is a song and video package, a highlight package of the entire tournament that's played at the very end after a winner has been crowned. People take it very seriously and they love it so much.
Yeah, I do too.
You do?
Yeah, because it's a montage of all the things that it and what I love about it is that March Madness, 3 weeks approximately.
Sure.
4 weeks, a short period of time, but the way they put together
Able to be fit in March, if we may. You could fit the whole
but
thing
it
in
bleeds
March.
into April.
Yeah, but you could if you
right.
tried.
Yeah.
Move it back and fit it all. Sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly. But what I love about One Shining Moment is the production team puts together these, it's like a slideshow at a graduation where, you've had at least 4 years with everybody. If it's high school, maybe more college, you really know these people. And so it's like, oh, remember freshman year. But this is like, oh, remember 10 days ago when when that guy did the goofy dance and everyone's like, oh, and then I'll tear up because if you put music over any slideshow, I will tear up. And it's like such a beautiful manufactured emotional experience with very little weight.
Yeah, and that's what I take issue with. And it's an unpopular opinion, and I've been yelled at about it already, so I stand here in my truth. The song they put it to stinks.
Oh, One Shining
Moment stinks. Isabella has never heard the song, correct? Still correct, Isabella? Okay. Now, I don't think we'll be able to put the audio itself in the podcast, but we're going to play the song for Isabella, and then I want to hear what Isabella thinks.
Okay, so this was the part in the recording where we showed Isabella One Shining Moment. Unfortunately, we can't play that on the podcast, but let's pick it up at her reaction.
It sounds like a good karaoke song.
It does it? It's so, One shining moment. It's missing the thing about, it's too happy. It's too bright.
Oh, come on, it starts, the ball is tipped.
That's crazy. It's a crazy lyric. Was
I
written
love it.
just for
Katie,
March Madness?
Respectfully, we're going to do a little good
Disagreeing.
old-fashioned sports-style debate show here. I think it is a perfect song for this because it is corny. It is like 80s montage movie that we don't get enough of anymore. And
Who sings it?
Luther Vandross?
No, you'd think.
Oh, no.
You'd think.
Who sings it?
Not Luther Vandross. I looked it up.
Doesn't everybody think that?
Yes. I did till yesterday.
Who sings it?
What's his name?
David Barrett? I believe it was, they
come
redid
on.
it with Luther Vandross at one point.
Is that, so that
Which version
is
do we
him?
have?
There is yes, it was recut with Luther Vandross
Okay.
to make it hipper.
Yeah, I guess. Because that version that we just played did sound a little better than versions I've heard in years past. They're clearly adding some spice to the broth.
What I love about it is I picture a man in a vest, at a piano, on a cruise maybe.
Yeah. That's not basketball.
Well, but what if it were?
And
hear me out.
And we ask that
Counterpoint.
question every year.
Counterpoint, it might be.
Okay. It's fair. So, are you taken up for One Shining Moment
Yeah.
here? You don't care at all that the best thing about March Madness is that we all watch March Madness together? I don't believe you.
I mean, you make a compelling argument. Would you like the monoculture?
I don't want you to worry about what I want.
Okay. Well, that's not in my nature.
It just feels like One Shining Moment is one. First of all,
But it's the reward. It's what
it's a
you get
montage
at the
of
end.
multiple moments, so it doesn't even ring true. It's a bunch of shining moments. That's the premise of a highlight package. So one shining moment is not only a lie, it's a corny lie, and I feel like there could be a much better song. When my brother was... Walk with me for a sec.
Yeah,
when my
yeah.
brother was in Can-Am tournaments as a child, a youth hockey player,
Yeah.
they would do the montage to Van Halen Right Now, a song that gets annoying the more you listen to it, but that beginning hits
Yeah.
for an athletics package, like a highlight package.
Yeah.
There's suspense, and then there's the yes, then it breaks through and is positive. Whereas One Shining Moment is always like dee 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 dee. It sounds like Wii golf music.
I see your point. However, The ball is tipped.
The ball is
Some of the
tipped.
best lyrics I've ever heard. That's insane. But you know what? What do we do if we don't agree?
That's right. We put it to the judges.
Yeah, producers.
Katie,
have
here's
to
the
vote.
problem:
You
is that
can't-
if
What?
we were to refresh One Shining Moment all over again to make it hipper again, there's a 99% chance someone would pay Snoop Dogg to do it. So you have to pick what evil
yeah.
you're up against.
That's true. The next we'll be doing One Shining Moment with Jelly Roll, and I don't need that.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. I don't need that.
and Teddy Swims, who
Yeah.
I'm like, are you the same
Good for
person?
them. Good for them. Enjoy their One Shining Moment. We are moving the monoculture on to the next
Wow.
round.
Okay.
Sometimes you just got to make a call.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Next, we have a 4 versus 13. We have cult heroes versus Charles Barkley knowing as little as we do. Famously, Charles Barkley, a basketball player who talks about basketball for a living now. But when it comes to March Madness, what I appreciate about Charles is that it seems as though he knows just as little as I do. And it's nice having a fan self-insert on programming.
Yeah, we are in real time. We are watching Charles Barkley learn who plays for which team.
Yes.
And then he'll say like the wrong name. He'll be like, "Wow, Freddie Tinsdale's having a great game," and they're like, "Well, he was on Arkansas and they're out." And he's like, you know what I'm saying?" And we're like, "We don't know what you're saying, Chuck," but I think it's a beautiful thing.
We also have some cult heroes here.
Yeah, give me an example?
So, like, one of the best things, as you can see, about March Madness is the elevation of players who we wouldn't normally know about, who suddenly go off and carry their team. So in 2024, Jack Gulke from Oakland made 16 threes in the tournament. He hit 10 to knock out number 3 Kentucky in the first round, and then 6 in their second round exit to NC State. That is just we cared. That's the thing why I have them all listed here, is because we cared so much in the moment and then immediately deleted from my memory.
Yeah.
These are the sacrifice made by these cult heroes is that they have one shining moment.
Yep.
We remember them and then immediately forget. 2024 as well, DJ Burns for NC State. You remember him from last year? Who's this we're looking at here? That's Gulke. Yeah. Do you remember him? Because once I saw the picture, I realized you don't?
No. I super don't. I think I watched more women's March Madness last year than men's.
Did we have a cult hero in women's last year? Charlotte, as the expert.
I feel like, I would almost say, no, we didn't, because they all have played long enough in college.
That's the thing.
That we know who they, like, it can't be Kate Martin on Iowa, because everybody already knew Kate Martin. If she'd only played for a year and then gone to the WNBA, maybe it would have been like, oh, Kate Martin rules. But
but they're just, that's most things with women's leagues, is you're like, oh, most of them go there for 4 years, and most of them are
so cult heroes, okay. What?
Kevin Pittsnoggle, perhaps you remember, from 2005, played for West Virginia.
No, that's incredible.
Kevin Pittsnoggle, you just got Pittsnoggled.
Wow. So basically we're going up against like great names versus Charles Barkley.
Yeah. We have actually great names comes up in a little bit.
Okay.
These are just people who did cool things. Like, let me think. Luke Hancock in 2013 played for Louisville. He arrived in Atlanta averaging less than 8 points per game, and then he departed as a national champion and the most outstanding player in one of the more remarkable performances in Final Four history. In narrow victories over Wichita State, the Shockers, and Michigan, Hancock scored 42 points on 15 shots. What?
Is that even mathematically? Well, yeah, you factor in a 3. I don't know.
Guess.
I was an English major.
He had 5 assists and 0 turnovers in 61 minutes.
I think we got to move cult heroes on.
I think so too. But
I
really
love
do.
you, Chuck. But he doesn't need the bracket.
Right. And also, we'd be moving on a guy who doesn't know any of these people over these people, which feels extra mean. So we'll move the cult heroes on to the next round.
Right.
All right. Now we're up 5-12. 5 versus 12. We have buzzer beaters up against fan reactions in the crowd.
Oh, this is a classic 5-12.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, a 5-12 matchup is often an upset.
It's dicey.
A lot of times the 12 can win. Here's my feeling, Katie. Buzzer beaters make me feel more alive than almost anything else in this world.
True.
And so the thought, like fan reactions, you had Piccolo Girl in like 2016
Piccolo Girl.
from Northwestern. She was crying playing the piccolo. And so this is almost like choosing, a favorite child, because buzzer beaters and fan reactions are probably my two favorite things about March Madness.
I agree. It's a very tough matchup.
But a buzzer beater,
I know. Buzzer
you
beaters
just feel
are sports. They are sports distilled to its purest form. A buzzer beater is like you throw up the shot. You see everyone's eyes follow the ball, and it goes. And just ironically enough, the fan reaction to a buzzer beater is invigorating. It'll put life back in your bones. It'll make you feel like everything was worth it. And for just a second, the world isn't completely falling apart.
1,000%.
A buzzer beater. It's the end of the game. It seems like you might lose. This has to go in. And then it does.
And then it does. My heart rate's elevating.
I know,
now.
just thinking about it.
So buzzer beater. Moves on.
We have to.
We have to.
But
Sorry to the
fan reactions. Here's what we can say, I think, to make ourselves feel better.
What?
I don't love seeing a sad fan.
Oh, right. Except if Northwestern has a lot of great fan reactions, because
Yeah.
there's a kid with braces one year who
I
was like,
remember.
"My God,
That was great.
So, man, you're a better person than I am, because I'm like,
Sometimes it depends on the fan base. I'm not going to be upset about a sad Duke fan. But
Right.
sometimes they'll find like a child.
Yeah.
And just seeing a child experience sports loss, for the documentarian purposes, I'm glad they're filming it. But I'm also like, we don't have to zoom in on the tears. So we're going to use that as our excuse to move buzzer beaters on.
Great.
But I'm also harboring resentment for my producers silently for making us choose between buzzer beaters and fan reactions in the first round of the tournament. Moving
No
over
one
to
said this was easy.
no, and nobody said it would be this hard. Shout out
one
Coldplay.
shining moment.
Yeah, the ball is tipped. Okay, the number 2 seed. Sorry, I hit my microphone. The number 2 seed versus the number 15 seed. We have sick names versus actual basketball being played. Now, listen, I would want to pick sick names, but I feel like moving two, if I may be frank, 2 white women moving sick names into a bracket. I don't want us to make fun of anybody's names.
Well, no, it would be, if anything, an appreciation. But I actually think that for me, regardless of what those names are, I think actual basketball up against anything in the first round would win for me, because I find there's a meditative quality to just watching. I mean, especially as you said, our world/government, all of it sort of falling apart. There is
I didn't say
a
that.
meditative quality to sitting there and being like, oh, we used to watch basketball and things were normal.
Yeah.
And you can pretend things are normal for a game's length. So I think I would move actual basketball anyway.
2025. That's this year. Yeah.
Well,
Dane Danger. There's a player on Memphis named Dane Danger.
really good.
Sick.
Really good.
Also this year, is that Musa Cease?
Musa Cisse.
Musa Cisse. How fun is that
Really
to say? They both play for Memphis, which all this has done for me is I know I'm
You're rooting for Memphis. Yeah.
I mean, Dane Danger and Musa Cisse.
Yeah.
That is the most fun
really good.
I've ever had. 1997, famously, God Shamgod played for
Hold
Providence.
on, Katie, let me
Now-
take it back one. Do you know who Memphis's head coach is?
Penny. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, Penny Hardaway.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
That is a squad to
okay,
watch.
That's probably my winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Wow.
And God Shamgod now a coach for the Dallas Mavericks.
Tough time.
Yeah.
That's a tough time. They need as much God as they can get in that building.
They have 2.
Yeah. Chief Kicking Stallion Sims from Alabama State. That was in 2009.
Really good.
2012. I love a name that sounds like a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Stats Battle.
No way.
Stats Battle. That's,
Stats Battle.
That sums up sports TV. It's just one big stats battle.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
2012, Syracuse Scoop Jardine.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Fantastic. Also, if you ever wanted to start like a salad, make your own salad company.
Right.
I could eat at Scoop Jardine's Scoop Garden.
Kava could rebrand.
Yeah, totally. 2013, Syracuse had Rakeem Christmas.
Also great.
I'm going to try this one and be corrected potentially. 2012, also Memphis, who might be our all-name team.
Yeah.
Hippolyte Safak.
It's as good as I can do.
Okay, Hippolyte Safak. Middle Tennessee in 2016 had Giddy Potts.
Yep.
And also, if we may, in memoriam of a couple names who are missing out on their chance to make this year's tournament. Jizzle James from Cincinnati. No way this Rhode Island is real. No way. Rhode Island has a player named Always is the first name. And Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. Always Right. That is, I didn't know legally that could be our name.
You know what that is?
What's that?
Great parenting.
I mean, incredible. My parents would never name me Always Right because they insisted that I wasn't. If my parents named me Always Right, I would have never been grounded. I could go, well, you named me this.
Yeah. You have the ultimate.
I always was
card
just
to
getting
play.
grounded for being like, you guys are wrong here. It's me who's right. And then Utah Tech not making it into the tournament, so we will not be seeing Tennessee Rainwater.
Oh, beautiful.
Really beautiful stuff.
He should become a playwright.
Yeah. Why? Because Tennessee that's
Williams
it?
walked so that
Right.
Tennessee Rainwater could run.
Yeah,
anyway.
or you could become, like a
Basketball star.
Or like a person who makes sure we all can drink or something.
Environmental.
Do we still have those?
No. Those were gone yesterday. Love the thought though.
So you want to move actual basketball on? We'll do that.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Basketball moves on. But shout out to all those sick names, and I'm looking forward to learning others that didn't, necessarily make it into our bracket. Okay, we're almost done with this first round. We have 3 more matchups. This one is the 7 seed versus the 10 seed. Remember, the 10 seed, we picked Noon Beers. So we have coaching outbursts versus Noon Beers. This feels quick to me. I think I'm going to move Noon Beers on because while I love a college basketball coaching outburst, historically, they mostly happen leading up to the tournament.
Right.
I don't know that we see any of the really good ones that come to mind in the tournament itself.
Yeah. I'm trying. There, Will Musselman also talk about names. Didn't he have an outburst, or he just took his shirt off after they won?
Oh, yeah.
So I guess celebration is different though. So
That's
yeah,
an outburst. Outburst does not necessarily pick an emotion. It just says that it has exploded out of you. So joy counts as an outburst.
yeah. I mean, and then you've got Gino, who's just constantly falling apart on the sidelines. Let's do Noon Beers. It's much more interesting.
I think you're right.
Great.
Noon Beers. Who doesn't love a noon beer? Or a noon, little
Right.
toot toot.
You know,
A noon little, just
Yeah.
a little.
or a noon extra. Little half an anxiety. Med.
Okay, yeah.
whatever
Or a
you're
noon-
into.
Or a noon pharmaceutical.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever,
Live your life.
2025, folks.
Go on your own ride.
Just doing my best.
It's the important part is noon.
Yeah.
And then the intoxication.
And the
so
help.
however it is you do
Yeah.
it, but don't do any of the crazy ones. Let's not do noon crack, okay?
Well, yeah.
Just not going to endorse noon crack. Okay, the 3 versus the 14. We have brackets and all that entails, making your bracket, trying to keep your first round completely clean, versus cutting the nets, the act of when the players take down the physical net at the end. I believe it only is happening at the very last. Whoever wins cuts down the net at the end of the whole thing. It's like does that happen right before One Shining Moment, I believe?
Think so.
Potentially right after. But it's a a moment.
Yeah.
It shines.
It's bright.
Right.
Gosh, brackets I have a love-hate relationship with brackets because every year I fill one out. And I have, speaking of coaching outbursts, I have an outsized reaction if my bracket is busted immediately.
Yes.
Like if the team that I choose going to the Final Four or winning is out in the first or second round, I'm legitimately angry for the rest of March Madness.
Yes.
And I try to let it go, but then I look at other people's brackets and I'm like, oh, I thought about moving that team on, but I didn't. But also not filling out a bracket, I feel this sense of freedom. And then I'm like, well, I definitely would have won if I'd felt. So it's a tortured experience for me, but it's also integral to March Madness.
Yes.
Cutting down the nets.
I love it. I think if it happened more, I'd feel better picking it here. But the thing that fuels the fun of March Madness is like no matter how little or how much you know, you're given a list of all the people and you got to just pick.
Yep.
And there's so much to the making of a bracket.
Yes.
The like Sunday night of Selection Sunday, filling it out. Or if you're me, getting a text that's like, you have 10 minutes to submit this. Where's your bracket? The following along, the making you invested in a thing you wouldn't have cared about otherwise.
Exactly. And
So I think-
the method you use, like the best bracket I ever made was in college when I just picked off of the uniforms that I liked.
Smart.
Tennessee
There's
did
a
very
million
well that
methods, and since we're
Yeah.
going to move it on to the next round, we'll have plenty of time to discuss those methods. I think brackets moves on. Sorry to cutting the nets. It's very cool. I love it.
year. And then they put the little piece of the net in their hat.
Yeah, sweet. It's not cost effective. Somebody's got to replace that net.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to play anymore. Basketball. Okay, and then
We
the
got
last.
that basketball.
I love the excitement.
song.
I love that.
Really good.
That made my whole day.
Same.
So excited.
Oh, that was out of nowhere.
Isabella's.
I'm sorry.
know her. Oh my God, I know her. Isabella, who wore a basketball shirt today
No way, I didn't notice.
It says I Heart New York, but it's with Josh Hart.
instead of a heart. Isn't
Yeah.
that sick?
Cute.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Who's more basketball, Josh Hart or Josh Hartnett? Who is Josh Hart plus a net, which is where you put a basketball and you cut down. Let's move on.
Okay.
6 versus 11 this is our last matchup of the first round. We have learning American geography versus commercials for schools.
Oh,
Now, I don't watch a lot of college sports. It's just not my bag. But obviously, I love March Madness. So this is one of the only times of year I get to see the commercials for schools you're not usually seeing television commercials for. Because if you think about it, regular daytime TV, if you're watching and you're seeing a commercial for a school, it's usually like DeVry or like Education Connection. It's always for like a school that you're like, well, that's not really a school. It's a school, but it's like it doesn't have a campus that we all go and we visit and it's like a school light. These, I guess part of the agreement of when you air a college basketball game, you've got to air an advertisement for the schools that are playing,
yeah.
which I would say the basketball game is the best advertisement for the school. But that's fine. I love seeing like Alabama have to tell me what's great about being in Alabama. That's funny.
I love a school commercial when they're trying to convince you that actual school happens
Yes.
there and not just basketball, not just football.
While you're watching a
They're like,
Thursday game played by students, and you're like, yeah, school happens for
yeah,
sure.
at 1 p.m.
When's the school for them?
And then they switch to, like students in a lab with beakers. And you're like,
Well,
is that even real? Do they even use beakers anymore?
I
Like
hope.
ostensibly. Anyway, I love those. I also love when there's like a general conference.
an SEC commercial?
It just means
I'll get out
more-
of my seat for
Yeah,
an SEC
same.
commercial because it does mean more. It just does.
It does. So those move on. Sorry to learning geography.
Well, and so we should say, I only recently learned, and I think every year relearn, like where Gonzaga is. That's in Washington State.
yes, blows my mind every time. Also, there are always like 5 schools in Nashville you've never heard of.
Right.
But we know where Nashville is. We know where Washington is. We just don't know where the schools are.
Where's Purdue? Is that in Indiana?
Yes.
Thumbs up, I'm getting.
I was gonna
Does
say
it matter either way?
Well,
yes.
no, she's kind of right.
It's an I state for sure.
Yeah, I think we eliminate learning geography because, as you can see, it doesn't stick.
Right.
We just learn it so that somebody, as women in sports,
Where's Creighton?
that Creighton is in South Carolina.
No, it's not.
Creighton is in Virginia.
Creighton's Rhode Island.
Creighton's in Rhode Island, and everybody knows that.
Where is it?
Look at how. Just leave the silence in when you edit this, Chris, because nobody knew.
Nobody
Nebraska.
Creighton is in Nebraska.
knew. No way.
Oh God, I
Wait.
love it.
Did Creighton move recently?
Yes,
I swear to God, Creighton was in Rhode Island last year.
Miami of Ohio. It's all very confusing, and
Miami of Ohio, definitely Oklahoma.
I've only learned the geography so that when somebody quizzed me as a woman to prove I knew enough to be here,
Yeah.
question mark.
Yeah.
That's why I knew, and I
Right.
immediately forgot it. So school commercials move on
Great.
to the next round. Okay, we have now brought it down to what, 8? We're at the Elite 8. Mm-hmm. Let's start with our first matchup here. Cinderella runs
Mm-hmm.
versus the monoculture.
Oh, Cinderella runs.
Oh, wow. She just did that.
I'm sorry because I was against monoculture.
That's
movie.
right.
I had one
I
shining
forgot.
moment anyway.
Sure,
So that
well-
was, a Cinderella run really makes you feel alive.
It does.
But a monoculture,
It's
watching something with other people also makes you feel
But you're
alive.
right. The way that we used to do that has died now.
Yes.
So the thing about the monoculture that was one of my favorite parts is kind of gone. So I'd be doing this. I'd be choosing this with a memory of something that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Of like logging on and hanging out with your friends and
You're-
talking about the sport.
Right. Your one shining moment is the monoculture.
Yeah. I could just do a highlight reel of times that funny things
That
were
your
said.
tweets went viral.
Yeah. I don't know that they ever did.
Oh, come on.
I tweet for a small.
You had bangers.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I
She's
don't know.
lying, everybody.
She's not.
Katie's
She's just
lying.
not. I just tweet for the. I tweeted for the thought to exist in the world, so that someone could go, "Hey, I had that thought." That's what I did it for. Love of the game.
Wow.
Mostly love of the game.
I did it for the retweets.
The ball is. The tweet is sent. All right, Cinderella
Yeah,
runs
great.
moves on. That's
Thanks.
the correct.
Okay.
That's the right thing. Cinderella. Gus. Okay, the next matchup: Cult Heroes
Yeah.
versus Buzzer Beaters. Wow, this is difficult. This is a tough one because a cult hero, really what it is a kid that you're like, you looked at them when they were on the floor and you were like, what's this kid going to do? And then little did you know that kid's going to do a lot.
Everything.
That kid's here to make a splash.
That kid is the one shining.
And then
moment.
for those 2, 3, 4 weeks that we're looking at that kid, you're just like, this is my guy.
Right. You feel very, very connected.
Very connected.
So here's the thing. Buzzer beaters and Cinderella runs. You just smacked yourself on the mic.
It doesn't matter.
Buzzer beater and Cinderella runs feel similar to me.
You're looking ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Well, just
Sure.
just in a way that like it elicits the same emotion where you're like, holy shit, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that matters at all when
Well,
we're
cult
looking.
heroes are usually on Cinderella teams. Like it's usually like a team. I'm looking at the list that we have: NC State, Oakland, Northern Iowa, St. Mary's, West Virginia, Louisville, Michigan, Weber. Isn't it Weber State too? No, it's Weber. It's Weber.
I thought it was Weber. What
It is Weber, right?
Really?
I've always said Weber.
Yeah. Then that's it. Then confidently say, and that's where Harold Arsenault went.
Wow.
Arsenault Hall, I called him
Beat me to it.
in 1999.
So I feel like maybe Cult Heroes needs to move on against Cinderella runs because it can encompass buzzer beaters and you really get invested. A buzzer beater is ephemeral. It happens
Wow.
and it's over.
Right, but it's same with. I mean, Cult Heroes happen and they're over. It's just
Well,
a
yeah.
little bit of a longer.
I mean,
timeline.
personally, I think buzzer beater I care more about.
I think so too, and I
Okay,
think we
great.
have to go with our hearts. I think we move buzzer beaters on.
Beautiful.
Shout out to the Cult Heroes.
We hardly knew ye.
Truly, a more expert sports podcast would be listing you and talking about all of the. But we recognize you. We love you.
I would also argue we have more interesting things going on in our heads than the list of those
Sometimes.
names.
Yeah, sometimes. Thank you for arguing it. Okay, now we have basketball, the actual basketball versus noon beers. Oh my God. Now I'm going to tell on myself here. It's, I don't really care too much about the actual basketball.
Okay.
I care a little bit about the actual basketball.
Yeah.
I care enough to like half watch it. But if I were to be asked, which I am, for the record, right now,
This is
currently
happening
being asked
as we speak.
if I'm here for the beers or if I'm here for the basketball, gun to my head, and I don't know why. I don't know what situation this is where there's a gun to my head and I got to pick, but I'm picking
Right.
beers, I think.
Well, in this strange hostage situation,
What's going on? What's the backstory?
I think we should move noon beers on.
Yeah, I think.
I think so because actual basketball, that's a very boring answer, and noon beers will be way more fun to watch in a matchup.
She's just
In
producing.
a second.
Just straight up producing.
Sorry,
And please don't apologize. Someone's got to do it.
nooners,
Nooners are moving on. What did I call them?
Papa Nooner.
You know. And then our last of the Elite Eight, brackets up against school commercials.
Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, it's less tough for me. I'm sad to say goodbye to school commercials, but I think in general you can watch those other places. They aren't really a March Madness thing,
right?
So much as they are just, for me, my experience of March Madness, and for a casual fan who maybe doesn't watch a lot of college sports, I think they're going to find them really interesting. I'm glad we brought them up and that we highlighted them.
Same.
But I think that the brackets are a lot better in terms of like if we're trying to make a list of reasons people should tune in.
Yeah.
And this is a good time for us with the Final Four here to stop and take a look at what we are saying, ostensibly, to use Charlotte's
it's a good word.
Really big vocabulary.
It's a good word.
The 4 things we're saying are the best things about March Madness.
Wow. Oh, this just carried a lot of weight.
I know. Cinderella runs. Nooners.
Yep.
Buzzer beaters.
Yep.
And brackets.
I stand by that.
I think we did a good
I stand
job.
by that 1,000%.
As do I. Now, brackets was a 3 seed. Noon beers was a play-in.
Wow. We got our Cinderella run.
Play-in 10 seed. Ironic. Unfortunately, not going to face Cinderella unless it's in the final. I don't want to look ahead too far.
Wow.
Cinderella was the 1 seed. Buzzer beaters was the 5 seed. I mean, this is quite a bracket.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I am so jazzed for March Madness right now. This is making me so excited. I love March Madness so much. This is, oh my God, I can't wait for all of these things.
I feel ready, scared but ready
Same.
to head into our Final Four.
I feel like I'm about to play a sports game.
I just realized that I forgot to put on deodorant today. That's where I'm at. I was just sitting
you
here
had
going,
that moment? Can I just say something that anyone who's ever hosted or been on a podcast before knows that feeling. And if you haven't, there is this very real moment where something happens and you get like either excited or nervous or you're like, oh, what did I just say? And you can tell immediately whether you put on deodorant
a subtle change in body chemistry. And I'm like, oh, well,
you're hot.
It's a small room with the doors closed, a lot of lights. We got to wrap this up soon or Charlotte's going to pass out. All right, here we go. We have Cinderella runs versus buzzer beaters.
Oh, dear Lord.
Who could possibly choose?
Did we do this to ourselves?
What a Sophie's choice.
Well,
didn't Sophie technically have both the kids? So she did it to herself as well.
you know, I couldn't tell you.
I don't even really know what it's a reference to, so I apologize if this is.
I was gonna say it's a Holocaust movie.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
God
but
damn
I'm.
it.
But
I thought it was like MASH. I thought it came
It
from
is, right?
MASH.
Isn't it like don't they make her choose?
I thought it was that she had to choose between her kids. I don't remember.
She did, but
I think
choose to
saying Sophie's choice is
die.
okay. I think maybe going into too deep of details is wrong.
I am Jewish.
That's where I will back up.
I am Jewish. I also
That we're covered.
thought it. I'm not even going to say the next thing that I thought it was about. We can,
Leave all of this in.
Well,
Leave all of this in.
I don't know.
Cinderella versus buzzer beaters.
Huh.
Okay, so let's talk about it. We are logical people. We can figure this out. A Cinderella run is a team you don't expect to be there, and they make a run. The negative of it is they're not usually winning. They're
usually
not the winner.
Yeah, they'll get
far, and they did. This is the Final Four. This is usually where a Cinderella run, if
Peter's
its
out.
best, will end.
Yeah. St. Peter's out.
Has a Cinderella ever won? That was good.
No.
No, right. So, I mean, we also could make history here. We could have Cinderella runs win, and then we're the first.
So here's the thing. I get very, very invested. Like, I got so invested in the Cinderella run of St. Peter's that I went to the campus before they left for one of the games. I mean, it was for work. I was like, wrote about it or whatever, but couldn't tell you. But there is this feeling of like, this is now, like, I've never rooted for a team harder than I've rooted for a Cinderella run. However, a buzzer beater is pure emotion. And the one downside, as you were saying, of the Cinderella run is that, like, if they knock out 1 seeds or 2 seeds along the way, and then they get to the Final Four and it's a complete blowout, you're like,
Yeah.
sort of wish that we
could
had
have seen a
Duke
better
in there,
game.
which is not something you ever think you're going to say. And then you hear yourself say it and you hate it.
And then that's a moment for sports fans where you just look at yourself in the mirror and you go, this is what I've become.
Yes.
But interesting is that Cinderella runs in our bracket was a number 1 seed. So it feels a little crazy for it to go a lot further I'm feeling conflicted in that way. I think if I had to make an argument against buzzer beaters, moving on, I would say they are not unique to March Madness.
Oh.
They are a big part of March Madness, but they aren't something that you only get during March Madness. So that's if I were forced to make an argument against, I would say it's not the pure best thing about March Madness. But even as I'm saying that,
No, you just convinced me.
I did.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
even think I was
convinced me.
trying.
No. I know you weren't, but I think that is Cinderella runs are. You really don't get you don't get a Cinderella run in the NFL playoffs.
And if you picked the Cinderella by whatever mistake you made,
exactly.
is the best feeling when you see that the league you're in, that's your mom and your dad and your brother and your brother's friend from high school, and you see that nobody did but you did, and you know in your heart of hearts that you only picked it because you like the colors, right? But they don't know that, and so you're just yeah, that's right. I saw that happening.
I also
Nostradamus.
Yeah,
Right?
Katie,
Was the guy that,
Nolan Damas.
I don't think
see.
you even tried that hard to make that work.
I didn't because I said it.
Nostradamus, I feel like would have been.
Oh
But I don't. It's
no, Yep.
my podcast, so I guess I can.
Yeah. No, that's correct. So I hunt for Cinderella.
Okay,
runs.
at first I was like, you do? Yacht Club T-shirt goes
No,
hunting.
come on.
I barely
This
knew
is
you.
like a joke yacht club
yes,
shirt.
you hunt for Cinderellas, and I love that.
So let's move that on.
Okay.
All right.
Not my favorite Disney movie, but one of my favorite things about March Madness. Cinderella is in the final.
What is your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, tough to say. As a child, it was Little Mermaid. I love Little Mermaid. I watched it nonstop.
Yeah, very good.
I also like Beauty and the Beast. Those are up there for me.
I'm a Robin Hood, Disney Robin Hood girl.
You would be because the
myself.
hot fox.
You said it.
Hear me out. Hear me
He's
out on
so
that fox.
hot. That fox
it's
is.
fuck. Can you pull up the fox, please, just so we can take a look?
The Riz on the fox from Disney Robin Hood.
Crazy.
Unmatched.
Unmatched. Just
Also,
swag on swag.
The song. Do 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 do.
I vaguely remember, but I'm more about this guy. Show me my boyfriend. Show me my animated boyfriend.
Oh, Robin Hood.
The way he leans on that tree.
Okay, here's a fun fact. You want to know? Fun fact: the fox from Robin Hood and the cat O'Malley in the Aristocats.
Okay, pull.
I got overexcited and choked on my own spit. Voiced by the same man.
No way. And which one is O'Malley?
He's the Rizzy cat.
Oh my God.
He's the one who's like, "Hey, little lady, how can I help you?"
Yeah, I don't think I wanted to sleep with this cat as badly as I. And look, at the age that I was perceiving these things, I don't think I knew what sleep
No,
with
you
even
didn't.
meant.
What about
I just
Scar from Lion King? How
what
many-
bad boy? You got a bad boy streak in you?
Isabella, get out of here.
Isabella, what? You can't like Scar.
Get
Scar's
outta here.
bad.
I'm asking. I didn't say I was. I was asking
Well,
your
I
opinion.
I mean, I see it.
A lot of people
I
like
can
Scar.
See
You know what?
it, but I also can't condone it. He's
But
a little
the
bit-
point is that O'Malley and Robin had the same voice.
No, the point is Isabella wants to have sex with Scar.
I did not say
That's-
that.
Isabella, let me ask you
Crazy.
this. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about Jafar and Aladdin?
Listen.
Okay.
Jeez, walk with me. I was Casper, the friendly ghost, before he was revealed to be Devon Sawa. Once
You
it
were
was
into
once
him?
it was a person, I was like, mm-mm. But when he was a cute little ghost, I had such a crush on Casper. Guys, it's normal. These are normal things, normal stages in young female human development.
I can
This is
say-
totally fine and allowed.
Yeah, exactly. I can say a weirder one if you want.
Yeah.
The boy from Wishbone, the owner of the dog.
That's a human person. So I don't know that I feel as safe here.
All right.
This feels we're too old to have
Should we
this
continue?
discussion.
Should we continue?
But if
He's
you
not
wanna-
a boy. He was played by a 20-something-year-old.
Oh,
I was
fine.
a child.
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Oh, fine. That's
All right.
fine then.
I looked him up recently.
And how's he doing?
Time.
Let's take a look.
I don't want to say.
I think we have a clip.
Well. Oh yeah. Look.
Zoom in for me. Make a picture big. I'm blind.
What was his name? Joe Talbot.
Uh,
Look, if you're 10
yeah.
and it's
Okay,
1999,
yeah.
you see it.
Yeah.
You see it.
I was like Andrew Keegan. Remember Andrew Keegan?
No.
right? That was his name. He was a hottie little actor.
On what?
He was in a bunch of stuff. I think he was in Camp Nowhere. I think he was in the house arrest, the one where they locked their parents in the basement. What's that? House Arrest, I think.
Man of the House.
Parents.
No,
in
that was
basement.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
He was in Man of the
I
House.
started a rumor senior year of high school that Jonathan Taylor Thomas died because I thought it was true.
Wow.
My whole senior class just.
Oh, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking when he was like when I was younger and he was younger. Any movie. Don't look at him now. Don't click on him now. That's
It's not
rude.
fair. It's
I'm
not
talking
fair.
about like younger. Yeah, whatever. These are wrong. I actually don't like looking at his face now as much. I don't think. You didn't think he was a.
No, I ought to be okay. The truth is, I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, fair.
So I can't
That's
really
fair.
see.
Well, that's fine. That's okay. Formative for me. Didn't have to be for you.
Yeah.
Noon beers versus brackets. I hate to choose homework here, but I feel like I'm choosing homework.
I got to move brackets on.
I can have
It's the
a
whole
noon
point.
beer whenever I want to. I'm
Technically.
an adult woman.
Yes.
With no job. So I can really
Well, what is this?
have a new. Well, this is where I hang out with my friends.
project?
This is where I force my friends to come hang out with me.
I love it.
Thank you. Me too. I'm obsessed with it.
It's
in fact.
really fun.
Thank you. I agree. But I can't call it work. Not in a time like this when
Yeah.
there are people working 3 jobs just to get by. This is crazy to call this work.
This is
So I can have a noon beer whenever I want.
So let's do Cinderella. I mean brackets.
I think brackets move on.
Brackets.
I truly let's discuss our bracket strategies because I think if this is your first year filling out a bracket, and even if it's not, the strategy I've come down to is that I enter before I sit down, I enter like a meditative state where I just say, "Hello, heart.
Yes.
I need you to do the talking. Jesus, take the wheel here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to say the 2 teams I'm of the matchup I'm doing, and then I'm going to be silent and I'm going to let the answer come to me.
Yes.
I'm not going to question. I'm not going to push back. Sometimes I'll be down on like a matchup further down the bracket and something in me will go like, I'm still thinking about St. John's. Why don't we
Yes.
go back and
Yes.
make it St. John's? And I listen to that.
Yep.
If something is really, bugging me,
Yeah.
I go back. But mostly in the moment, I just say the 2 teams. I sit there and then I decisively choose. The
Yes.
decisiveness.
Gosh, that's such an evolved way of doing it.
It doesn't always work.
No, of course not. It's a bracket. Come on. I have 2 strategies.
Okay.
And they differ for the women's and the men's.
Yes.
And they do not have their success rate is the same.
Separate but equal.
Well, yeah. Yikes. So for the women's, because I watch more women's basketball during the regular season,
Yeah.
I actually try to do it based off of basketball
know.
knowledge.
Yes, of course.
Right. For the men, because I just simply don't, I do exactly what you do. And it's always so depressing when like the uninformed
That's it.
version does better.
It does better.
And it usually does. Except I think women's going to be pretty chalky this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
But so I don't think there is a wrong way to fill out a bracket is what I'm
There
trying to say.
absolutely is not. You can roll a dice.
Yes.
You can flip a coin. You can, technically, we know because of the women's tournament, because of the, what was that? Big 12, Big 10, SEC. Who was it that they had to flip a coin to decide who was going to be the
SEC.
one? So the SEC, they had to flip that coin, and the coin had on either side of it the 2 teams that it was between. And I was like, where'd you mint that? Like, where did that come from?
Right,
Do you
did you
have
just
that
have
with
that ready?
every team ready to go? So if those exist, in a world where those exist, you could, I hope, Greg Sankey, top of my head.
Wow, yes. NCAA.
I think it's the
not
SEC
commissioner.
Greg Sankey, you've got access to all these coins. I hope that's how you fill out your bracket. I hope you're flipping the coin and picking for your guys. The man who's got,
Maybe that's how I'll do the men's bracket this year, Katie.
yeah.
I think I might. Well, but then I'll be like, I don't feel good about that.
And here's another thing I'm going to say about brackets. And if you find this to be blasphemous, just skip ahead 45 seconds, 3 times on that button. You can fill out 2 brackets. You can fill out 2 brackets if you worry that your bracket being busted will not keep
Ruin
you
your
interested.
life.
No, if you're worried that it's going to keep you uninvested in the rest of March Madness, I don't think you can submit to. I think that would be shady. I think you got to pick which one's going into your
Yes.
league.
Yep.
But for yourself, you can just have at least my backup bracket's still alive. But if you're going to make 2 brackets, you're not allowed to compare. You're not allowed to look at what you did on one and change it on the other.
Yes.
You just have to fill out a second bracket from memory. Those are my rules.
I'm going to be honest. When you started, I was like, that is blasphemy. And then I realized that A, it's actually a great idea and it keeps you sane, and I've done it.
It's just like a backup that no one has to know about.
Right.
You're not allowed to go well, my second bracket was perfect. If your second bracket was perfect, that's almost more torturous because you're well, that's your private bracket. So now only you will ever know that you nailed it on your second try.
So
but
real.
it's for you. It's so that you're oh, at least I got it right over. At least I'm not a total idiot.
Yeah.
Because my God, when your bracket goes red in that first round and you're oh my God,
So,
all of it.
Speaking of Cinderella runs, real quick, when UMBCC, which I still am not entirely sure what it stands for.
Isn't it UMBC? Because CC sounds like community college, and I don't think a community college has ever made a run.
No, but there were so many letters that I felt there had to
that's
be
true.
one more.
You're so right.
But I think you're right. It was UMBC. When they upset Virginia in that first round in that year
Yeah,
where
I had
Virginia was
Virginia
the one,
winning, I believe.
so did I,
Yeah.
and it screwed it all up. And everyone was so excited for the Cinderella run
Yeah.
for UMBC, and I was pissed,
Right.
because I couldn't enjoy the Cinderella run, and
Right.
my bracket was
Yeah, and I was oh, cool. The thing you all love is my grave you're dancing on.
yes, exactly.
Everyone is dancing
I
on my
woke
grave.
up pissed. the
That's
next-
not University of Maryland, Baltimore County, is it? No. What
It
is
is.
it? It is? Oh,
It is.
wow.
Yeah.
It's just a
The
guess.
retrievers.
The golden retriever.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah, yeah.
regular retrievers?
Amazing social media.
Because they're bay retrievers.
That's wild.
Oh,
You should be
like Chesapeake.
golden retrievers, especially when you've got gold in the name. That's like a comment. The Golden Knights. You add gold to a sports team.
What about-
to make it feel?
Hear me out. More specific. The Chesapeake Bay
Yeah,
retrievers.
Sure.
Duck tolling retrievers.
you are familiar with all the things I would expect you to be familiar with.
Thank you.
The types, dog breeds, yacht clubs, hunting.
Do you want to hear about the time I played? Yeah, never mind.
What?
No.
What? Squash. Mm. Okay, so we're at the final. Charlotte.
Wow. Oh my God. Cinderella run against brackets.
Yeah,
Katie,
I know.
this is harder than filling out a real bracket.
And truly, because it's they're so related, they're so intertwined. Where does a Cinderella make their run?
Oh my God.
The bracket. They run through a bracket. So
Here's-
it's like these are so closely related.
Yes, here's the thing though. I don't know that I can choose brackets because they also cause me such pain.
Right?
So if this is like the thing we're most excited about for March Madness, I am also dreading my bracket, but I am purely excited for Cinderella runs.
But what
That's-
if we don't get one? How often do we not get one? Pretty rare, right? I know
Do
we
we
don't
get
have
one?
the numbers in front of us. I feel like we almost
But the
always get one. Does it count as a run if they go one round deeper than you think? I don't think it
An
does.
upset is, well, no.
But I think you have to win the next. You gotta.
Two
I think this is just me coming up with it from air, not based on anything. I would say in order for it to be a Cinderella run, not a walk, or just an upset, you'd have to go two rounds.
Cinderella walk, let's normalize that.
Yeah, Cinderella walk. It's you take off one shoe and you walk.
And you hobble down.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. What is your heart telling you?
My heart is telling me brackets, but that's
Really?
only because I think what I love about it, and this kind of goes back to the monoculture, which was eliminated so long ago,
Sorry.
ironically, against Cinderella runs, is that like brackets make it about me. Brackets are me. I'm playing. And I'm not playing, but I'm playing along. Like a bracket is like if you had, God forbid, you had something you had to do the day, one of the earlier rounds of March Madness, and you check back in and you're like, oh, let's see. Oh, I'm winning.
Yeah.
Like some people have like highlighters that they use, like different colors to highlight the winners. Sometimes you can do it in an app when they'll give you a cool thing. I love the... I'm a lady that writes notes. I'm a
was
lady
gonna
that
say,
loves to have something to
I've-
follow along with at home.
Never met someone who loves a highlighter
God,
more
I
than
love 'em.
Katie
I
Nolan.
do. I really love a high. Has this come up before? I'm mortified at that.
Years ago.
Yeah, I like
No, don't be mortified. That's amazing.
I like organized data. I like keeping track. I like a system. I
Yeah.
like looking at a piece of paper and being like, look at how good by the color, how good I'm doing.
You know what? Brackets.
Stop letting me convince you it's working too easily. It's making me think I could go on first take and just win every argument.
Who says
You have folded every
can't?
time, and I want you to know you don't have to do that. Just
Well,
because
but
my
it's
name
more
is
fun
looming
to agree
over
with
you.
people. I'm like casual. I have to be cool about this.
You don't.
So the reason that I'm thinking brackets is because it's very meta to have brackets win a bracket.
Win the bracket. Is that bad?
I
Is that
still
kinda against
love.
it?
I personally love Cinderella runs more than brackets. Here's a question: should we? You know how if it's a tie in someone's bracket, you have to guess the score.
Yeah.
Should one of the producers think of a number, and you and I have to guess a number, and whoever's closer, it's Cinderella.
This feels like just the amount of chaos this podcast needs. You have to pick a producer.
Yeah,
So it's either Brady, Chris, or Isabella. Who do you choose?
Isabella.
And Isabella, who
No offense to
certainly
Brady and Chris.
of the three options could not guess what a typical college basketball final score would be.
Oh, I'm picking a score? I thought I was picking
she's
like
gonna-
1
well,
through 10.
You're
No,
gonna
it's a
want to
score.
pick a number between 1 and
150.
great.
Which is
50. I thought it would be like maybe 110.
sure.
Okay, fine. But you're picking a number.
Wait, but am
don't
I-
say it yet.
Wait, but am I picking like 50 to 27 or am I picking
Yes.
the winning number of the
Oh, I
winning
thought we were
team?
picking when you add. I thought it was that you add them together. I'm making that up completely
I like that.
because that way we only
That's
have to
one
guess
number.
one number. You
Okay,
know,
let's do
so
that.
it's like what's the final like point total?
So between 1
This
and
doesn't
200.
make any sense. So
Okay,
we'll
so-
stop trying to make sense of it. Just pick a number between 1 and
200?
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be a basketball score added up.
Yeah, no, we're
Just
just
any
now.
number,
Now
1
we're
and
gonna. Now the
200.
rules are
All right, I
broken,
got it.
and it's just any number between 1
Okay.
and 200. I have to pick one. You have to pick one. Mine represents brackets, and yours represents Cinderella.
Yes.
Is it Price is Right rules?
No.
Okay, so if you go over, but you're closer.
Yeah.
you're closer.
Yeah.
Okay, Isabella, you have your number
Oh my
written
God,
down.
I'm so nervous.
You write
Yes.
it down.
Yes.
Isabella, what's your number?
Don't you have to tell me your number and then I tell you who's closer?
Oh, probably.
That's a good point. What's your number?
Good producer.
Yeah.
My number's 90.
I was like, don't make it seem like I know nothing about scoring,
This
okay,
isn't
guys?
actually about scoring anymore. My number's 90.
This is a weird guessing game. 90? Okay, great, because mine's 21.
Okay,
I'm so nervous.
Wait, Katie, yours was what?
90.
You're closer. You won. Mine was, it was 108.
Wow.
Wow,
Oh, I
brackets wins.
forgot that it was between 1 and 200.
I know. I'm surprised
What
you
did
chose
you
like 20.
think it was? You're the one who said it.
I thought it was between 1 and 100.
I chose like right in the
One
middle. Plus,
shining Nolan, your dreams can come true.
The ball is tipped. Okay, wow.
Brackets wins the bracket
Brackets.
about the things we love the most about March Madness. A 3 seed who had to beat cutting down the nets,
Yep.
who had to beat school commercials,
Yep.
who had to beat noon beers.
Wow.
Brackets wins the bracket. Is that the dumbest waste of an hour that
awesome.
anyone's ever had?
I loved it.
All right, Charlotte, thank you so much for being here. This
kidding me?
was the best. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me as the co-host of the Sports Gossip Show, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify.
They put their
Blah, blah,
podcast
blah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, you know, you run a camera and sorry. Sports Gossip Show. I write the Substack, The Wilder Things.
Great, fantastic.
And you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky, and I'm on Twitter, but I'm not tweeting. So
And what is just at Charlotte Wilder?
at The Wilder Things.
At the Wilder Things.
Yeah,
on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Twitter.
Yeah.
And I mean, I follow you. I just don't ever look at your name. I just
Yeah,
know
because
it's-
why would you? Yeah.
Right.
The Wilder Things. And it's my Substack, so
It's a good brand.
And the Sports
She's a
Gossip
good
Show.
brand.
thank you so much. Little weird. Thank you. This was such a delight.
Wasn't this fun?
Oh my God.
You should come wear the same pants as me more often. and
Please.
We'll hang out.
Please.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening. Email again, casuals@katenolan@gmail.com. Voicemail 646-801-0043. On IG and TikTok, we are at Casuals, the podcast. This has been fun. Good luck with your brackets. The next time you hear from us, your bracket should be already filled out. We will be deep in, well, we won't be deep in, but it's March Madness. So get excited. We're excited. We love you.
Oh.
And we mean it.